Hi, and welcome to the Ready for Love podcast with Anae Orette, the dating and relationship advice show dedicated to helping you create a single life you love, date with confidence and ease, and ultimately attract the love of your life. Thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Ready for Love podcast. You're here with me, Anae Orette, dating coach, and today is a very special day because we are going to talk to the lovely Ivona Gordon, my special guest. Ivona is a fully qualified life coach, master coach, NLP practitioner, timeline therapist, and facilitator, specialising in love, life and relationships. And along with a diploma in relationship psychology, Ivona has over 25 years experience working within the human resources field, and she has written a book called It's Okay to Be Single. She is also founder of the London Relationship Coaching Meetup Group. And she's known for quickly building rapport so that individuals working with her, either on a one-to-one basis or attending one of her relationship workshops, where they receive powerful, life-changing experiences, then go on to make these big changes in their own relationships. She's also known for getting single people relationship ready, and that's exactly what we are going to be talking about today. So Ivona, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for coming to talk to us about this very important topic today.
Thank you, and I'm so excited to be here. It's unbelievable. Thank you.
Wonderful. So we're very much looking forward to hear what you have to say. I have to say relationship readiness and everything around that is really one of my favourite topics as well. So I'm sure we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, indeed.
So just to start off with, we'd just really love to hear a bit more, getting to know you a little bit better. And just really, how did you get into the relationship coaching side of things? How did you get there?
Wow, it's a long journey. I mean, well, in terms of coaching, I've always wanted to coach, and I kind of toyed with different niches and listened to friends who said, "Oh, you make a good career coach," but I didn't feel that passion. But what I was doing at the time, I was very much aware of friends talking about relationships, either moaning about their partners or worrying that they're not going to find a partner. And I would listen to them. And I was also thinking about my own relationship and what was going on at that time. And I realized this is really important. Relationships are really important, and that we sometimes slip into the wrong type of relationship. And I needed to find out more. So it was more to do with being aware of what was going on around me, with my friends, but also what was going on in my life. And I wanted to find out more. And I wanted to, I know it sounds cliche, make a difference, because relationships, when they're working well, do make people feel very happy. Yeah.
So in terms of your own relationship experiences, then is this whole topic around relationship readiness, is that something that came up for you fairly early on, or how did you how did that become such an important thing for you to work around?
It came up as I started to read up on relationships, and as you mentioned, I did my relationship diploma, and I thought, yes, I want to coach people on relationships, but I didn't feel it was right to be coaching them in certain areas where I wasn't a good example myself. And you can coach on anything, really. You don't have to have gone through the experience, but I really want to be authentic. And at that time, I was very much on my own, failed marriage, and I just felt it didn't feel right to be saying all these things whereby I wasn't a good example. And I thought, what's happening for me? And I kind of dipped into a pretend relationship. I say pretend because, it wasn't equal. And I came out of that and I started to really connect with myself and thought, yeah, relationships are very important, but you do need to take time out and build that relationship with yourself first. So I kind of niched down and started looking more about, I suppose in a way, self-love, but that term can seem a little confusing to some people.
Yeah, that is an interesting term.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it can seem as if you're being selfish, but when I was in this pretend relationship, which is in my head, it's kind of weird, where it wasn't one-sided. I thought, what's going on for me here? I need to really understand myself first, build up that connection with myself, and then I may be ready to think about getting into a relationship. And it was at that point where it took me a while, took me over a year to start really connecting up with myself, having time out on my own, to be okay in my own presence, and started to think about the things I enjoyed doing. But prior to that, I actually went on a self-love program. It was an audio. It was something on Twitter. It was absolutely amazing. And that triggered it all off. And I thought, God, there's so much work to be done on yourself before you get involved in a relationship. And it was at that point I thought, that is where I want to work on. Just before getting into a relationship, get yourself relationship ready. But I don't think I had that term yet. It's been quite a new term for me. But it was about building that connection, really appreciating you and knowing that you're okay. Mm-hmm. And it was at that time, and you mentioned my book. I started writing because I really wanted to write, but I did not know what I wanted to write about. And as I was going through this process of almost self-discovery, saying, I quite like this. That's my passion. And really actually opening my eyes up to the world, I thought it's pretty cool being single. It's okay to be single. You don't need to be in a relationship with somebody if you've got that relationship with yourself. Mm-hmm. But it takes time. It takes time. You need to go on a journey and come out the comfort zone. And I did a lot of out of the comfort zone moments to connect up. Yeah. So in answer, in a very long-winded way, it was more to do with, it's just stepping back, being really true to myself and saying, I want to do relationship coaching, but I want to do something where I can draw on my personal experiences and know that this is a good way in which an individual can prepare themselves and get ready for love. Mm-hmm. And I can say, yeah, it has happened. The process does work.
So the process has worked for you as well, because you found your happy ending, right?
I have. I mean, as I said, at the moment, it seems absolutely fine, but it was at a stage when I felt okay with myself in terms of my values, my beliefs, and I felt confident I could be on my own. And having somebody else, I suppose it could be the icing on the cake. I kind of liken it almost to, as an individual, I'm absolutely fine. It's like a pot of stew, and with all the nice ingredients, it's quite tasty, quite edible. And then somebody comes along and they add that very special ingredient, and it brings out even more flavouring, and it's brilliant. Right, so it's almost like a stew. So I suppose the individual could be the stew that adds on it, but I'm quite edible on my own.
Yeah, I love that metaphor. That's great.
I tend to use quite a lot of metaphors to get my point across.
So you mentioned, if you don't mind me asking you about this, Ivona, that you also came through a divorce, and it was after this that you started doing this kind of exploration and got into your research more and then got into the coaching side of things. Am I right?
Well, I think coming out of divorce, and this was many years ago, I at the time, I kind of put on all different hats because I'm a mother of 2 adult children, and I focused very much on being the perfect mother, and at work being the perfect employee, manager, and I guess being a people pleaser, I kind of covered everything up in roles, being the ideal daughter, sister. And it's only when I started to do more work on coaching and NLP and started connecting up with myself, I started to take off those hats. And you do need to take off those hats, those masks, and almost strip yourself naked to find out who you are under all these things that we carry on. And I think what was going on for me there was that I was trying to put a block up and saying, I'm too busy to get involved in any relationship. I'm a mother, I'm a busy woman, and just to protect myself. Mm. And I think in hindsight, that's what I was doing. But at the same time, I wasn't discovering what I could really offer myself or anybody else because I was hiding. So I would say it was some time on before I moved into relationship coaching. In coaching in particular, it was about helping other people. I wanted to help other people, but I didn't realize at the time I needed to help myself first. And I think there is this danger with a lot of people in our area of work in that we want to help, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we do need to look at ourselves first and make sure that we're strong enough to support other people in this coaching world that we're living in. Mm-hmm. So I found that out as I was doing that, as I did NLP, neuro-linguistic programming in particular. I realized there was things that were holding me back, some negative feelings and thoughts that I needed to address, and my language needed to change, my thinking needed to change. So it was more about me building myself and being strong. And all the learning has really helped me do what I do when I'm working with individuals on a one-to-one basis or in groups. Mm-hmm. I believe I can do well, and I want them to believe that they can have a different lifestyle and can have the relationship that they deserve. But they do need to remove all their hats, their clothes, and be naked and start building themselves up. Mm-hmm. So they know who they are.
Yeah. And do you find that, I'm just thinking that I've had a kind of a similar experience in terms of I actually really got round to doing this work, shall I say, and mm-hmm. self-discovery and in many ways only after my divorce. And I'm, so often with my clients as well, it seems that, we don't put as much work into ourselves, shall I say, maybe early on while we're still single or not married or as we go into our dating journey. But sometimes it takes a big realization, maybe something, or a big thing like a divorce to kind of make you really look at yourself in a different way. Yeah. And it's kind of, it's just the thing is, and partly of why I do what I do is to help people to do things differently right from the beginning, hopefully.
Right. I think it's so important because, all our programming is set. I think by 18 it's all set. So there's a very small percentage that we can work on in terms of emotionally programming our thinking and how we behave, the way we behave. So the sooner we can have those positive thoughts about ourselves and know who we are, the easier it is when we're interacting, not just in a relationship with people out there. I mean, I've seen it very much with the work I've done in the past with young people and how at a very young age, we're talking young ladies, how they feel about themselves. Their confidence tends to be quite low and they're looking for external approval from somebody else, usually a guy they fancy, and everything goes to pieces if the guy is interested in somebody else. So there is a lot of work to be done, and you will find that, when somebody comes to you and they believe that they're not worthy of finding the right person and they blame all the guys on their misfortune, and having to get them to really strip things down and to discover what may have happened in the past and the patterns that have emerged over the years. And it really saddens me. It saddens me when they feel stuck and they feel that they can't move out. But on a positive, when you work with a client and they listen and they take action and things happen, my heart is so, I don't know if you get this, but it's almost like you want to cry.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
They don't have to think that way. They can get what they want.
It can be different. Absolutely. Yeah. So today our particular topic is obviously around being relationship ready. And you are going to give us 3 specific steps to get there. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time because I know there's so much we can talk about.
I know.
So, but you're gonna give us some three really concrete and practical steps that people can go away and apply. But before we dive into that bit of content, I just want you to, when we talk about relationship ready, I mean, what does that by definition, or what does that actually mean to you? What does a relationship ready person look like?
A relationship ready person will be emotionally ready. They would have looked at themselves, known who they are, what their values are, would have set personal boundaries, would have known their likes, their dislikes, their frustrations, a way of overcoming them. They would know when to say yes, when to say no. They would be very clear on the sort of person they would want in their lives, but also would know what they're going to bring to the table. But it starts very much about being emotionally ready. And yes, you can talk about baggage. It's a horrible term, really, but sometimes you need to unpick some of those things that will be brought into the relationship if they're not dealt with. And some of the stuff, as you would know, are unconscious stuff. And it would be my role to try and see what the patterns were of the past and how best to address it. And once they're self-aware, it's almost like an aha moment. You're very much on the path of them moving forward. And it's in a stage, as I described before, whereby they're okay in their own presence. They're absolutely fine. They could be living their life and being very happy. And it's at that point when you are happy, that's when you're likely to be attracting somebody who's right for you. So there's quite a few things in the pot there.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But it's the emotional bit that's important.
So what is the number one mistake then, in your view, that you see people make when it comes to relationship readiness?
Sometimes it's very much physical. Yeah, we know physical attraction is important. So usually it's that person looks nice and that's it. And not recognizing some of the red flags that may be around, because as you know, you're very much hooked into this physical thing and you rush into that and you're hoping and praying that although you may notice some negative traits, that you're going to sort them out. It's okay. There's hope, there's potential. So it's very much physical, and that's a mistake. But also not recognizing what you need, right? It's almost like giving to that person, but not recognizing, is this the person that feels right for me? So some of it is an instinct as well.
Right. So taking some really concrete steps to get yourself in a place where you are relationship ready means that you will, make better choices and kind of bypass somebody that might be very attractive but might not be a good fit for you emotionally and long-term compatible, so on.
And I think it is taking responsibility for yourself, whatever you bring into your life, and not blaming that person if they've done wrong, because you chose that person to be in your life. And that's a hard one as well, having to take responsibility.
That's right. But yeah, that's not always the easiest
No.
thing to take on or to recognize for yourself, is it?
No, not at all.
Right. So thank you for that. Now, for us to get relationship ready for somebody that's listening to us, what is the first thing then? So we're going to just go through our 3 steps now. So where shall we start?
Let's start with build a positive relationship with yourself. Right? And by positive is the sort of things that you say to yourself, which are not always very good, and they're not based sometimes on facts. It tends to be what other people may have said in the past or what you may have perceived them to have said. So it's build that relationship with yourself, and you do this by having time out on your own. You find time where you are not involved in all that busyness around you, and you have that time to think, for example, Ivona, who am I? What do I want? All those things. Be good to yourself. Watch your language, what you're saying about yourself. Okay, so that's one of my first, and also what's important to you in your life.
Yeah,
I could go on for ages, but I won't. I'm tempted.
Well, just on this, just on this particular, I know this is like a whole day's topic in itself.
Yeah.
But you mentioned, the way that we talk to ourselves, that kind of that inner talk, inner voice thing. Do you have a quick tip how somebody can turn that around? That just inside their heads.
Right. It's noticing when it's happening and just changing it round, and not labeling yourself, you're stupid. So that's a stupid thing. That's stupid of me. And then just clocking it and said, turning that round and saying, no, that's not stupid. What I'm doing is X. You just turn it around, reframe what you're saying, and think, have I got any justification for thinking this way? So catch your language. And if you can't do this on your own, tell somebody close to you that whenever you're saying something that's negative, could you pick me up on that? Because it's a habit. And some people are not aware that you have to literally break the habit. Another thing is just to write down in your journal at least 5 positive things about yourself. And what you should do is fill that whole page, the A4 size page has got about 32 lines or more of things about yourself. I am. And hold that with you. Right. So sometimes that will help more than quickly catching it as it's happening. First come out, it's quite hard to do that. Right. So just write it down.
I think that is so important because it's not like your thoughts are not uncontrollable. You can take a very concrete, practical action to stop yourself, turn it around, write something different down. So it is absolutely something that everybody can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so and then our second, so it's all about building a positive relationship with ourselves, inside and out. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And then what's next?
The next one is forgive yourself and others, but let's focus on forgive yourself because I think this is really hard. And if you can crack this and stop beating yourself up over the past mistakes, and those mistakes we can turn into learning experiences. Again, it's the language we use. If we could just turn that round and just move forward. So it's happened. What have I learned? How am I going to move forward? And this is why I suppose being present really helps because we're actually wasting time if we keep on going on that about this partner that we were involved in and why did we do that. Take time out to reflect on that, but don't allow it to take over your life, that you're living very much and reenacting what has happened. So forgiving is huge and learning to let go is a hard one. I mean, what I will visualize if I was working with somebody on this and they were very stuck on forgiving themselves is almost to imagine all those negative experiences and bad behaviours that they've experienced from other people. Just imagine it's in a balloon and blow it away. Just blow it away and it's gone. It's very much a visual. If somebody's visual, it will work very well, right? And then replace it with something else that is good for you, right? Something positive that's good.
And this is obviously really, I mean, it goes without saying how important this is, so that you then don't carry all of this forward into your new relationship, right?
Yeah. Again, as I say, that word baggage, that you can deal with as best you can. It's not easy, and I don't want anyone to go away thinking, oh, you just visualise a balloon, it's gone. It has to be repeated. Everything is about changing a habit and belief, and then you start believing that you can let go. You can let go, and there's nothing wrong. You're a better person from your experience if you've learned from it.
I always think, I think baggage can be quite a beautiful thing in some ways, if it's something that you have resolved, shall I say. It's the unresolved part of the baggage, I think, that causes the trouble, isn't it, in future relationships. But I think that, I know it's not the greatest word, but having that experience and that depth of experience in a past relationship, and just that learning that it gives you, if you're willing to see it and find it, it can actually really help you, I know, in a future relationship, if you've resolved it in a constructive way.
Yeah, if you resolved it and you accept the person as a person and not the same person that you've had a bad experience with. Because, that's I suppose some kind of transference can take place when you're literally looking for the signs in the past relationship in that person.
Exactly.
Right? So that's why it's so important to do as much work as you can, so you become emotionally ready to accept the person as an individual.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're working on building a positive relationship with ourselves, forgiving ourselves and others, and letting go of all of that. And what is our third step?
The third step is really knowing the type of person you're looking for. We did touch on characteristics. I'm not saying that you have to go for somebody who you're not physically attracted to, but you need to be very clear on your life. So you have to know what your values are, what's important to you, and all the different aspects of your life. Almost do a life audit on all the different things that's going on in your life, and what this person can do to add value in your life, right? Based on who you are, right? Because it's all about authenticity. You've got to be true to yourself. There's no point getting into a relationship when you're putting on another one of your hats and they're not really seeing you. And it will cause lots of anxiety and stress if you're trying to be somebody else. And again, it's about writing it down. So if I give an example, for me, I'm very much into personal development. So if I had my way, I'll be at different events all the time. I'm always reading, always trying to keep up with, I suppose, the trade and what I'm about. But I do like freedom. I like talking. I like family. I'm very clear about the sort of person that I would want in my life, who respects all. Right? I don't like bigoted views. I like someone to respect everyone, basically. That's one back. So if somebody came into my life and showed that they did not respect somebody because of their gender or ethnicity, it wouldn't be a runner. I'm very clear.
Sure.
I'm very clear, right?
Yeah.
So you have to do the work first. You have to build that relationship with yourself first, know yourself. And then you will know whether the person that's going to enter in your life will be right for you. It doesn't mean they have to have every one of your values, but you'll know whether it's likely to be a good match. And again, what you bring into the table, it's a two-way thing.
Sure. Okay, thank you very much. That's all really practical, very helpful, and it seems so obvious, but it just seems sometimes, we tend to spend more time and invest more energy in planning holidays or careers or all these other things in our lives than we actually spend on really preparing and being ready and getting ready for our relationship.
So important. It's like, I suppose, applying for a job. You'll do your research. You'll put down how much you want in terms of pay, how long you're going to travel. These are all things that we would do in a career. Yeah. We're looking for a job, and the same thing will apply if you want to get yourself ready. There's things you need to prepare yourself for.
Sure. And arguably, this is much more important because you might, this is a person you're going to spend your life with and potentially have a family with, where you can't change. Whereas a career, you can always make a change, right?
Yeah, you can. Which I've done.
Which you've done, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ivona. That's really helpful. I wish we had more time. I'm just gonna just ask you a little bit about, for anybody who is interested in getting in touch with you or know more about what you're doing. What have you got going on? What's next and new for you?
Okay. Right, they can contact me on social media. I'm on most platforms. My favourite really is Instagram. I'm under Ivona Coaching, and Twitter.
Okay.
They can contact.
Just to say, we will put all the links. I'm so sorry. We will put all the links on the show notes on this page on my website, so it will all be there.
Excellent. Facebook, obviously, you can't cope without Facebook. I'm under Ivona Gordon Coaching as a business page, but I've just created a group for people who want tips, advice on getting themselves relationship ready, and it's called Get Me Relationship Ready. That's the group. So if you Google that, and I can give you the link, it would be lovely to have some new members. It's literally just been set up.
And this is a Facebook group, right?
It's a Facebook group.
Fantastic.
So you'll find videos of me. I prefer to communicate and share information through very short videos. Fantastic. So it'll be lovely if you can join me there. Where else am I on? Yes, a relationship coaching meetup group. That's based in London. I run workshops, very short workshops, and what people do is that you get your regulars. It's almost like a real community, so some really good friendships have been formed on that. Right. Yeah, and Fantastic. I'm involved in a couple of projects. Collaboration is the key word. I think that the power of collaboration with people in similar areas is absolutely beautiful. So I've been doing a lot of work with others at the moment.
Fantastic. I couldn't agree more. That's really great. And you're here talking to me, which is wonderful.
I know. Thank you for finding me and introducing yourself. It's such a brilliant opportunity just to explain what I do and to help others. Really, that's what it's about.
Fantastic. Well, we will put all your information and social media links and any other links on the page, so people will be able to find you. But just before we finish off, I always have 2 questions that I love to ask all my guests.
Yes.
So the first one is, what is your definition of love?
Look, my definition of love, I found that quite hard. You just kind of feel it.
It's not an easy question, is it?
It's not an easy one, but it's a positive emotional feeling that connects you to another, where you experience and show respect, understanding and mutuality. That's my definition.
I love it. Beautiful. Especially the connection bit.
Yeah. Connection. From top to bottom, inside out.
Inside out, body, mind, soul.
You got the picture.
Yes, got it. Right, and my last question for you, Ivona, is if your number one top tip, piece of wisdom that you want to leave our listeners with, what would that be?
I would say to your listeners, Take time out in your busy world to experience love and respect for yourself, so you know who you are and what you really want in all areas of your life.
Okay. Yeah, because we're usually the ones that get left behind, right?
Yeah.
We put so much time and energy into others.
Yeah, just do it. You deserve it. You deserve it, and you'll gain so much if you just had some time out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. This time
welcome.
has just completely flown by.
I've enjoyed every moment.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for sharing all your wisdom. And I just encourage people again, anybody who's listening, to go and check out your site or your social media links and connect there with you. And we're going to just wrap up. So just to say thank you very, very much, Ivona, again for being here. And we're at the end of our episode today. This is Anna, your dating coach, and you can find me on Twitter at dating coach, or my website is very easy to remember, datingcoach.uk, to see what it's all about. And on there you will also find a podcast, and the show notes for today's episode will be on there. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you connecting, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.